So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this session with Center for Career Services. My name is Danny Keene. I am one of the enrollment managers at JCU. I also graduated from John Carroll in 2015. And there are so many great things ahead if you do choose to join our community. But I'm going to actually hand things over to Pat, who is to my left, but he might be somewhere else on your screen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pat Mullane. I'm the Assistant Vice President and Executive Director of Career Services. And so I'm going to spend the next 12 minutes or so just talking. I have a little slide presentation to show you, and then we'll open this up to questions. And I think with a number of people here, we'll probably do questions through chat. So if you could chat with Danny for the questions, and then she'll feed me those once we get going. But the first thing I need to do is go ahead and share my screen. So let me just do that. So hopefully everybody's seeing a slide that says Career Services. All right. So what I'm going to talk about briefly is about what we do and how we do it, and then a little bit about outcomes. And then I'm going to end with a message that we want all first-year students to understand, and we deliver throughout your first year and actually into the sophomore year too. This message, we are constantly pinging on it, and you'll see it when we get there. But it is about really engaging in things outside the classroom, but we'll come back to that. So what does Career Services do? All right, we're here to work with students and alumni, and we work with alumni. We're a lifetime service, and we actually work with alumni all the time on a regular basis. Pretty much every week we're working with alumni. But what we do is three things, and it's really what any career center does. We help you make career-related decisions. We help you develop the skills to achieve your goals, and then we connect you to opportunities. And I'm going to talk very briefly about each one of those. So making career-related decisions, for a lot of people, that actually starts with choice of major. So if you're coming in and not sure what you want to do, we're the people that you can work with to help you figure that out. If you're coming in and like about half to 3/4 of our students think you know what you're going to major in and end up changing that while you're here, we're here to help you through that process. But then it's also about, do I want to do an internship? Do I want to go on to graduate school before I enter the workforce? What do I want to do after graduation? And really what we talk about, and I want to key on that, what we're really talking about is what you're going to do next. There's very few students that throughout their 4 years and even into whatever they do after graduation that are figuring out what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. And a lot of times when we see seniors, they'll come in with some anxiety because they're talking about, I'm not ready to figure out what I want to do the rest of my life. And we say, well, of course not. We're really just here to help you figure out what's next. And we take a very educational approach to all of this, that our goal is to teach you how to go through this process. Because in your careers these days, at least futurists in the Department of Labor are predicting you're going to have 7 to 12 jobs, and then there could be 2 to 3 to 4 career changes. So that aspect of what you're entering now, where you're going to be into something and then have to make a decision to transition into something else, is going to really be what you're going to be going through in many ways the rest of your life. And if I really had to name what we do as a career center, we're really the Center for Decision Making and Transition Management. And that's really what we're here to help you do, is move on to the next steps and figure out how to do that. So around those making career-related decisions, we do a lot of that work through individual appointments. We do work, we do some assessment kinds of things coming into classroom, but we work very closely with students. And we'll work very closely with you as you're coming through when you're ready to address these issues. And we have various assessments we use and everything to help you kind of narrow down your fields of interest and make your decision as far as whatever it is you want to do next. The developing career, the skills to achieve your goals is something that's actually unique to John Carroll about how we do that. And we have a very strong professional development programs. There's one in the Bowler School. So those of you who have previously been to the Bowler College presentation, they probably talked about that, their Bowler Professional Development Program. And that's a 4-year program. We also have one for the College of Arts and Sciences, which is actually customized by academic department and major. So it's very focused, and it teaches you things like resume writing, interviewing, networking, professional behavior and conduct, how to handle criticism, feedback, and praise, all the skills that you need to be able to go out and find an opportunity, whether it's an internship or a job, and be successful there. And this is built in the curriculum throughout your 4 years here. It's something that you really can't avoid, and something that you're going to go through, because the faculty here, and this is one thing that is very different than other institutions, the faculty feel that this is very, very important for you to have this skill set. And that's why every academic department is working closely with us to build that professional development program for the department. And we use materials, we work we actually support Boulder in their professional development program, and we run the College of Arts and Sciences professional development program. But as you go through your 4 years, you're going to be getting the skill set you need in order to be successful with your next steps. And all of this is competency based. So this is not about, oh, you just have to go to a resume writing workshop. No, you will have to have an approved resume, an approved LinkedIn profile. You'll have to have an approved interview. You'll have to demonstrate that you understand what networking is, because we're very serious about this, because we know with this skill set, you're going to succeed. We know that employers and graduate schools are going to want you at a higher level because you're coming in with this level of preparation. So as an institution, we've embedded this throughout the curriculum and throughout your time here to make sure that you get it, because we really feel it strongly that it's something that you should have. I want to talk a little bit about what students do as they go through. One of the big things for us is experiential education. And it really is you getting opportunities to exercise and develop your skills, to take what you learn in the classroom and apply it. The national average for internships is about 68% of college graduates do at least one internship. Here it's 76%. Do one internship or research experience. And for the scientists, that research experience kind of equates to what an internship is for somebody maybe going into the business or nonprofit world. And that is one of the real benefits of coming to school like John Carroll and our size as a science major, is your ability to do research directly with your faculty. And if you want to engage in that kind of thing, you can. And it's a big difference between a smaller school and a larger school. The larger school that has graduate programs, that kind of research is really what the graduate students are doing. Here, you're going to be able to engage directly in that research. And we have students who are going to conferences with their faculty and presenting, who are publishing with their faculty. And all of that makes a huge difference, particularly for those who want to go on in the medical and science fields, to have that kind of thing in your background. And you're able to get that here. And as you can see, of the students, the 76% who do at least one of these experiences, 54% do 2 or more. Right? And again, this is very critical, and I'll talk why. It's part of the message we want you to leave here with as far as engagement in your first year. 65% of those are paid internships. So most students end up getting an opportunity that they're being paid to do. But we also have funding for low and unpaid internships. So we have, it's a competitive process, but you're able to apply. If you're working for a nonprofit, let's say, and you have commutation or lodging expenses, we're going to help you meet those expenses. All right. And again, you have to apply for those, but if you're awarded, we make sure that you're able to meet those expenses so you can do that kind of internship. The timing and location is about this. One of the real benefits of John Carroll University is our location, is that you have access to internships year round. I've worked at more rural schools, and I can tell you that those students are only able to do internships in the summer. Here we have, again, students doing internships year round. You also have access to some incredible opportunities. We have, I think, 60 or 70 students at the Cleveland Clinic every year. So, and at Lubrizol, at Swage Lock, at top employers throughout Northeast Ohio. We have students who are, again, doing year round. And a lot of those students actually end up doing an internship their summer of their junior year, a kind of big internship, and end up working part-time for those employers during their senior year while they're moving into a job after graduation. And that's very common. But that's one of the benefits of being in a place like John Carroll and having access to employers like that. So to give you an idea of what our students do after graduation, they go everywhere. They get into everything, right? We do an at graduation survey. So right at graduation, about 70% of our students are employed or in graduate school. So about 40% are employed, about 25 to 28% are going right into graduate school. Another 20% are in the middle of their job search, and that's actually very natural because there's a lot of fields out there that hire on an as-needed basis. So if we look at communications, at nonprofit, at marketing, at some of those fields, if you went to those, and actually also small to mid-sized companies, if you went to those companies in your senior year in January and said, hi, I graduate in May, they're going to tell you come back around May. Because that's when we'll have positions. We have a position now, but we need somebody to start in 2 weeks. So they're in their job search, but within a year, and actually this is closer, really more like 4 to 5 months after graduation, 92% are employed or in graduate school. So are out doing things. At graduation, over 200 employers have hired our graduates. The list that you have on the slide here is the 32 that hire more than one. And I just use that list just because of the diversity within that list, because you can see all the different things that graduates out of here are doing. And I can tell you JCU graduates are sought after. When we have our career fairs, when we talk to employers, they consistently say to us, that the JCU fair is the most important fair that they go to because of the quality of the candidates that are coming out. And they constantly comment on the quality of the student presenting themselves, the resume, all those other kinds of things. So that skill set you've developed as you go through is going to pay off once you go to look for your jobs and everything. So here's the message. All right, this is what's really important. And when you come to John Carroll, what you really need to think about doing is you're going to have a period of adjustment coming into college. And to take your first semester and do that is a really good idea. You're going to need to do it. College is different. Even if you've taken courses while you're in high school at college level, once you get into college, the experience is different. And you're going to need to adjust to that. But eventually, you really need to begin to engage in things on campus because you need to have stories to tell. So when you get to the point where you're looking for an internship, you're looking for a job, you're applying to graduate school, you have to have had experiences that demonstrate how you've used the skills that you've learned in the classroom. Those experiences, and it can be, and I'll give you a list here shortly about the kinds of things we're talking about. Those experiences help you discover what you want to do. There's a lot of students who engage in internships or even on-campus employment or engage in student organizations, and it helps them define what it is they want to do after graduation. But even more importantly, it helps you demonstrate that skill set that you have to employers. If you don't have those stories to tell, if you just come and do academics and do strictly academics, you're going to have a hard time getting into graduate school. You're going to have a hard time getting a job because you're not going to have the stories to tell about how you demonstrated, how you used that skill set. And those stories also set you apart. Like when an employer comes to interview on campus, I know they've had a good day at the end of the day when they tell me your students had great stories to tell, because here's what their day involves. They're assessing, let's say, 5 skills for this particular internship they want, and they're asking every candidate the exact same questions to assess those skills. And it's your individual stories that set you apart. If you don't have that story, that's a problem. This is why experiential education is such a big part of the John Carroll education, and it's a big part of the Jesuit education, right? If you know the history of the Jesuit order, it was founded by people who had lived lives for quite a while and had experiences, and it very well is built upon having experiences and reflecting on those experiences and making meaning out of those experiences. That is built throughout your JCU education, is you are going to be asked time and again to reflect, to look back, right? And to see what does that mean. And there's a lot of ways for you to get involved. There's a leadership development program. There's service learning where you're going to be out taking a course and doing service that's connected to that course and helps you really understand even more deeply what that course is teaching you because you're seeing it live out in the community. You have Going Global where you can study abroad, right, and gain that experience. You have your immersion experiences. There's student research, as I said earlier, which is really critical for those who want to go into the sciences. You have the internships, and you have student employment. You have wonderful opportunities here. We give our student employees, many of them, significant responsibilities that you're going to be able to build on. Plus, there's engagement in things like student organizations, where you're going to put on events, you're going to do those things. that are going to allow you to develop those stories, can help you make decisions as far as what do I want to do, and to be able to demonstrate that skill set. So if you remember nothing else from this, if you end up making a wrong decision and deciding not to go to John Carroll University, right? Remember this piece: wherever you go, you have to engage. You need to do things. And I'll share a quick personal story with you about that. So my son went to a different university. He pretty much, just did academics and didn't really listen to his dad. No surprise there. But he graduated and he came home not really knowing what he wanted to do. So he actually ended up spending 2 years. And the myth out there is that some people will live in your student will come home and live in your basement. I can tell you some will come home and live above your garage. So it won't necessarily be the basement. But it took him a couple of years to really figure it out. He did, and actually this spring, he graduates from the University of Maryland, College Park, their program in library and information science with a focus on archival work. So he's going to be an archivist. And if you knew him, this is perfect for him. But the funniest part of this, to me at least, was when he was writing his personal statement to apply to these graduate programs, he had a line in there that it said, "Through my undergraduate experience, I learned about the importance of internships and practicums." And I looked at him when I read that line and I laughed. And I said, "Connor, you didn't do any of those." And he said, "Yeah, Dad, that's how I learned." So don't be like him. Make sure wherever you go, you get involved, you get engaged once you get there, because you need to have those experiences, again, to help you make decisions and to be able to demonstrate your skill set. But at JCU, we're here to help you through this whole process and to figure all of that out. And if you want to get more information, the website is down here. And then you can go ahead, you can go there and you'll see there's an outcomes page where you can get even more detailed information on where our students have gone, where they've done their internships, all of those kinds of things. But for now, I'm going to end the share and let's open this up to questions.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was still muted. So as you guys type your questions in, please feel free to ask anything. I'll go through. All right, Lakin, very quick. What are the career connections that we offer, such as Meet the Press? Are there any ones beyond that?
As far as like opportunities and where you can go and do internships and everything? Is that what we're asking?
I'd say so. Lakin, can you yes or no to that?
I'm asking, like, what are they like? Like, what can you give a brief description of the internship with Meet the Press and like what it entails and like how it kind of functions with Meet the Press? Because I know that's a huge one, especially within the communication department.
Yeah, and it's also a very competitive one to get, right? And it's one opportunity. And so just to drive home too, there are tons of opportunities. My understanding of that one is basic, but you really engage in the production of Meet the Press. I mean, it is an incredible opportunity in which you're engaged at a high level. Once you get in there, you're doing very, very significant work. The actual exact nature of that, I'm not sure, but I can tell you it is a phenomenal launching pad for someone for their career. But there are tons of opportunities to be able to do that. In fact, I think, let me do this. Let me just really quickly take you, we're going to jump to the career services and we're going to look at the outcomes page here. I'm going to share screens here in a second. This is going to be from the class 2 years ago. I'm just going to show you a list of, once I get to it, of where people are doing internships, right? And you're going to see it's an incredibly huge list with an amazing amount of opportunities in there. And internships anymore, by the way, are not, there's very few, it used to be an issue people talked about, an internship being, oh, you're making coffee, you're doing those kinds of things. That really isn't the case anymore. Most internships, most employers are using internships as an interviewing opportunity. I mean, we just talked to a employer the other day who's trying to figure out a way to move their internship this summer online, because it's a very important part of their hiring process, as they look at this as being, a 3-month job interview. for students. We're already hearing from other companies that are continuing and making their internships remote because it is so critical to their work, and it's a training ground and a way to assess students. But as you can see this list here, they're all over the place. We had that year, there were 36 students who had done in the graduating class work at the Cleveland Clinic, right? So you can see that students are all over the place. This is just A through C, right? There are tons of opportunities for students to do internships and get very, very meaningful experiences. And most of these are very, very meaningful. So as you can see, this list just goes on and on. And this is just one class and the internships that they did.
Hey, Pat,
Yep.
I don't believe you shared your screen there. So could you copy and paste the link into the chat function, please?
Is it working now?
Now it is.
Okay. So here you get, as you can see, again, there are multiple pages of where students are doing internships, right?
Mhm.
And they're doing them all over. There's tons of opportunities. If you want an internship, you can get an internship. And what we're seeing even now this summer, are there some students who are not, their internships they've had not happening? Yes. Are there other students where there are? Absolutely. Are there still internships being posted? Absolutely. All right. So there's still opportunity even during this time right now for students to do internships and pick that kind of experience up. But again, if you go back to that, to the link, if you go to career website, the career services website, you will, which is right here, I think, can you see it, right? And just click on outcomes, you can get to those reports and you'll be able to see where people are going.
Pat, we've got a ton of questions coming in.
Sure,
So
go
I'm
ahead.
going to try to sort through those to the best of my ability. A lot of people are wondering what type of services are offered and when they can access meetings with a career counselor.
You can access meetings right away with a career counselor. So as soon as you arrive, we have a system we use called Handshake, which you schedule appointments with us through that. And we encourage you to do that as soon as you're ready. We usually get in front of just about every first year student, either through the Boulder Professional Development Program or through some courses that are done for first year students on the arts and sciences side. You'll see us, you'll hear from us. You'll see that we are constantly communicating with you and you can engage with us at any time. We usually see about, in appointments, about 40% of the first year class and sophomore class. And that works its way up to over 3/4 of the seniors will see us in personal appointments. It's a big part of what we do. So.
Great, thank you. A couple people have asked similar questions. Do we see students traveling to other states for internships, perhaps during the summer, or helping them get internships in their hometowns? Is that
Yes.
what goes on there?
Yes, we definitely do that. We help you engage in the search. One of the things, the way that we do that, if you're looking remotely, we have agreements with 26 of the other Jesuit colleges and universities around the US, in which we're actually able to give you access to the internship postings on their sites. So if you want to be in Chicago, we're going to help you connect with Loyola there and get in and be able to look at their database of internships that are focused in the Chicago area. The Handshake system we use is actually a nationwide system. There's over 900 schools in it, so you also have access through that. We also will then work with you and teach you how to connect with alumni. So if you're looking, let's say, for an internship in Pittsburgh, we're going to work with you to connect with alumni in Pittsburgh in order to make those connections and help you do that search. So we're going to work very closely with you if you want to do that search. What it takes is for you to make an appointment with us, and then we walk you through that process and help you with it. But we have interns all over the US, really, and some international, actually. So.
Thank you. I think a good question was submitted by CJ, and I think it addresses a couple other programs. So if a student is doing the 3-2 program with CASE or the 3+3, would they work through our Career Center or with CASE's Career Center?
While you're here, you would work with us. And then you would engage, once you engaged over at Case, you would be working with them. But you still have access to us because we're a lifetime service. As soon as anybody does one semester here, they have a lifetime service with us. It's because we consider anyone who's been here an alum for however long. So we'll work very closely with you on that. And I do know the Case's Career Center is very strong. We're actually pretty well connected with all the career centers in the area. In fact, I co-chair a group of 28 of us that directors we're now meeting every Friday virtually to talk about how we're dealing with the whole COVID-19 piece here and our students. But we're also very interconnected and can easily move people around between different institutions.
All right, thank you. A good question from Emily. How will you help those who may be struggling with getting jobs or internships?
So right, yeah, a lot of that is going to be, it's going to be working with you personally on figuring out the job search and the process, because there is a process to this, right? If you do something like go to a site like Indeed.com and you just start submitting resumes and you're submitting 40 resumes a week to employers on there, guess what? You're not going to get a job that way. Okay. We're going to work with you to teach you how to network, how to really drill down into an area. At first, help you figure out, well, what is it that I really want to do? Where do I want to get an internship? What kind of internship or job do I want to get? And then we're going to work with you to put together that personalized job search for you, that you're doing the techniques and the things you need to do to be able to get a job within that field. And again, we'll walk you right through that process. We work with a lot of students where we just do a series of appointments as they move through the process. We're going to help you on every turn as you do that.
Thanks. And a couple of people have talked about opportunities for internships for underclassmen. So can you speak to what might be out there for a freshman and a sophomore?
Yeah, there's as a freshman, getting an internship is not necessarily an easy thing to do. You only have 1 year of college under your belt, right? Things start to open up in sophomore year. Definitely junior year is the big time that most employers are looking. But this is also not just about getting an internship. This is about getting experience. An internship is just one way to do that, right? And employers know this. When employers look at your resume, they expect you to see that you've used the skills you've developed in a wide variety of ways. They're not necessarily looking for you to have an internship in their given field even. Like if you wanted to get in consulting, the consulting field tends to not do any internships with students. But when they hire seniors, they want to see that you've had experiences. They don't care where it's come from. So your experiences are going to come from summer jobs. And so you might look at something, if you've been a lifeguard, you might want to, as you move into your freshman year or summer, you might want to be asked to be a supervisor at that point of other lifeguards, because that's an experience that employers are going to like. So it can be that really good summer job or volunteer experience that demonstrates to that employer you have the skill set and helps you get the internship in your junior year, right? Because you will see, again, internships start to build in sophomore year. A lot of those are actually gotten by students who are doing networking and talking with alumni and family and friends and finding that opportunity. All of that sets you up for that internship in the junior year, which in some fields is really critical. In the accounting field, that's how you get your job in accounting, is through your internship, right? But it just, again, it's all kind of very field dependent, which is another reason why you want to work with us. If you want to work in the nonprofit world, do you need to have an internship? Not necessarily. Should you have a whole bunch of volunteer experiences where you've demonstrated your skills and taken on some significant responsibilities? Absolutely. So a lot of times employers aren't necessarily looking for the internship, they're looking for wherever you got that experience from. And again, it can also come from student organizations you're engaged in. It's all about putting that story together in a wide variety of ways.
All right, everyone, that is actually our time for this session. I know there are a lot of questions that went unanswered. So I want to quickly encourage you to, if you have existing questions, to reach out to your enrollment manager, who you should have plenty of contact information for, or get directly in contact with Pat and Career Services. A lot of those questions your EM can help you answer, but can be directed straight to Career Services. And if you look in the chat function, Katie very helpfully just shared that email with you all. So I really quickly want to thank you all for attending and submitting such great questions. I love to see an engaged group. And we would truly, truly love to see you become members of the John Carroll community. As an alumna, I cannot say enough good things about the opportunity that await you here at John Carroll. So thanks for attending, Pat. Thanks for your
You bet.
expertise.
Okay, good luck, everyone. Good luck. Thank you.
All right, bye, everyone. Thanks so much for coming.